Hi, this is Steve from OTV, and I'd like to show you an example of how easily we can pull together data from different sources and put it into Power BI to create powerful and visually appealing dashboards. I'm going to use generic data from recognizable sources to demonstrate the process, and I'd just like to emphasize that this demo is only meant to showcase various things we can do with Power BI, and it's not intended to be a preview or prototype of anything we would actually build in the future. So I'm going to use two different data sources to quickly build a dashboard to display state population and public housing inspection scores. The first thing I'm going to do is use the Census API to bring in some sample population data. So here in Power BI, I just click the Get Data button here on the ribbon, go to Other and click Web, and then I just have to copy and paste this URL that I got from the Census website. Now I get this table which doesn't look very interesting, but that's actually because the census data, which is supposed to be JSON, was created with some formatting errors in it that are preventing Power BI from automatically formatting it correctly. But one of the great things about Power BI is this isn't actually that big of a deal because I have so many different ways that I can get at this data. So in this case, I'm just going to go back into my source here and change it to CSV. And now you'll see that I've got some nicer looking data with the header populated automatically, but I've still got a little bit of work to do to clean up this name column and this state code column. For this, I can take advantage of an awesome new Power BI feature that lets you create columns by giving it an example or two of what the column should look like. And to do that, all I have to do is right-click here and click Add Column from Examples, and you'll see this new interface pop up. All I need to do here is start typing in the state names, and it should very quickly figure out what I'm trying to do. Yeah, it only took it one to figure out that I just want the name of the state here. So I can just rename this state name and click OK. And you'll see this column was added. Then I'll just go and do the same thing for the state here. And you can see that it only took one for that one also. So now we have a nice data set here with the states and their populations that comes directly from the Census API, even though they actually had some issues with their original data. Now I'll press Close and Apply, and it's going to load the population data into the model. And you can see that we've got some new fields to work with over here on the right, and I can very quickly pull a field onto the canvas to start working with it. There's lots of different types of visuals I can use, from tables, charts, heat maps, gauges, and all sorts of custom visuals that aren't even listed here. And Power BI automatically detected that this data fits on a map, so it gave me that. And this map is really great for displaying points of data, as you can see. But if I wanted to see a filled map, for example, I could just click here to change this to a filled map. Now I can see the whole US, and if I pull in the population field, I can easily create a visualization of all the states shaded by their respective populations. Next, I'm going to pull in some HUD data that I downloaded as an Excel file from their website, and I just go up here again to Get Data, click Excel, browse to find it in my computer, and double click to open it. Then I can just select this worksheet here to load it in, and notice this nice preview feature that would be super useful if I had multiple worksheets in this Excel spreadsheet. So now I have another data set over here on the right, and something really cool that Power BI can do is that it can set up a relationship between these two data sets, even if there wasn't anything there to begin with. And in this case, I actually have a column in this new data set called state code, which will match up with the state code that I created in this other data set. And all I need to do to create that relationship is click up here and Manage Relationships, click New, and then find my state code columns in both tables. Notice that Power BI automatically detects that this is a one-to-many relationship. Now that I have that set up, I can combine these two data sets and use them in as many visuals as I want. I really like this custom map visual, so I'm going to use that instead of the filled map. And I can plot our inspection scores by dragging the latitude and longitude fields out here like this. So now you can see that each bubble corresponds to an inspection, and I could make the size of the bubble correspond to inspection score if I wanted by just dragging this field into the size field here. And I could add a color code too, so let's say I wanted to color code by state. So I can pull state name into the color field here. Finally, I could add the population data in here as a tooltip if that was something that I thought someone might be interested in. And now you can see that if I hover over any of these dots, and there's a lot of them on top of each other, I can see all of the information about that particular inspection, including the population data from the census data set. So one more thing I'd like to show is just how easy it is to make a dashboard like this super interactive. And one thing I can do is really easily create slicers that let me filter my map down to the state and county level by dragging those fields out here onto the canvas and changing the visual to a slicer, which is this one right here. I could also create a card telling me, for example, the average inspection score for a specific region. So now I can use these slicers and notice that when I click on a state here, for example, Washington, not only does the map zoom, but my county slicer is automatically filtered so that it just shows counties in Washington. And if I click on a specific data point on the map here, you can see that the average inspection score would just be the inspection score for that particular property. And all of this functionality was taken care of for me automatically by Power BI without me having to configure anything behind the scenes.